like a river. There's like small paths you can go on. There's meadows. There's like all sorts of stuff for
That
dogs.
sounds so great. Yeah, I heard even though, it's very popular, it's just so big that there's room for everyone.
Yeah.
It was super busy. We had to park in the overflow parking lot, and I was like, "Oh no, this is not going to be
It's
good."
not going
But
to work. But
once you
then
get once you get in there, there's plenty of room.
it's
So
crazy. Yeah, that's one of the reasons I want to go. It's just that it seems that no matter, even if it's busy, everyone has told me that you still have room for, you'll still have space to yourself.
Where
Okay.
which place are you talking about?
Oh, yeah. Do you guys want to fill her in on
yeah,
it?
it's called the Thousand Acre Dog Park, but it's right on the Columbia out by Troutdale. If you put it into Google, it comes up as a different name. I'm just
Okay.
looking that up.
Thanks.
Yeah, you should check that out. I think
It's called the Sandy River Delta.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, Chris, how's it going?
I'm good. My Zoom was freaking out for a
Yeah,
little bit,
something
but
was going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here comes Pete and Katie and Rosie. Yeah, I see you, and then you disappear, and then you were there, and then you were gone. I'm like, I know he's figuring it out. He's going to get this right in a minute. Okay. I think that's everyone. So we got Gloria, Rosie's here, Pharaoh's here, and we got Ollie, and there's people. There you are. Hey, Pete, Katie, and Rosie, how's it going? No, good. Good to see you. Excellent. So everyone's here. I've emailed back and forth with Shannon. You remember little Reginald, the little guy? He's been having some anxiety, and so she's focusing on those issues right now. And so I'm just sending her the recording so that when the most important thing gets, better, and that's his comfort level, then she's going to start working on some of the behaviors, some of the basic skill stuff. But the most important thing is that, that they focus on that right now. So, but he's doing well. He's just still having some discomfort in various situations. So they're working on it, and I applaud them for that. So yeah, so it's just going to be, what do we go on to? Just the 4. Okay, so it's our last class. First off, I want to double check spelling on the names because I'll be sending out within a week. I'll be sending out some electronic certificates. We used to, present them in person, but since we're just doing Zoom, instead of me like printing them out and then having to mail them all, I'm just sending them electronically, and then you guys can just go and print them out yourself on, any fancy paper you might like. So start out with Ollie. Is it Ollie?
That's correct.
Okay. And then Gloria, I think I've got that. Gloria. Yeah, okay, cool. And Rosie, Rosie. Okay, perfect. And Pharaoh, Pharaoh.
Yes, correct.
Okay, perfect. Okay, got that. Talk a little bit about continuing education. There is Kinderpuppy too that you might consider. My coworker Brittany teaches that. She's did you guys? Okay, I don't think you had her. She filled in for me once. She's great. So check our website if you want to enroll in that. I sometimes recommend that maybe give them a break, from, before you get started on another formal class, but that's totally up to you guys if you wanted to just like get right in there. And that'll just take all the behaviors that we worked on in this class and take them a little bit further and also just make them more solid. I think, I don't know if there might be maybe one extra, maybe 2 extra behaviors. I can't remember, but so yeah, if you're interested in that, just check the website. keep up with that, you know. And there's also basic manners, but we're not offering that right now. And that is really would be a lot of review, but also we teach at least one other behavior, and we work a little bit more on the leash work, especially if we're doing an in-person, which hopefully we're going to be doing combo going into spring. So it's our goal anyway. Continue, you know, the puppy socials at ours, Doggy Business, Wonder Puppy, Brooklyn Yard Vet, and there's adolescent socials at I think Pupstar, who does the socials at Brooklyn Yard Vet, and I think Sit Stay Fit does adolescent socials as well. Just something to think about. And also just continuing education. There's I'm actually going to show one of her videos today. There's a trainer named Kinderpuppy, Kinderpuppy, that does fantastic videos on YouTube that I refer to myself. They're great training tools that I use. She lays things out really well, explains them really well. So just for continuing that, when I send out your certificates, I'll have a little bit of extra homework for you guys. It'll include the leash walking video I'm going to show you today, and maybe a couple other things. And I'll also list her, but she'll be in the video that I'll be sending you guys, so you can continue to work on your leash walking. I just love her. She's just very methodical, explains things really well. And so it's great for a resource to continue your education, even if you don't decide to like do another formal class. Another thing I just wanted to touch on, and I've just started mentioning this because having dogs that are getting older, I'm racking up a lot of vet bills. And the things that are coming up, unfortunately, are all pre-existing conditions. So I can't really do anything. It wouldn't be helpful to me to get pet insurance right now. But for you guys, I would recommend looking into that. Do your research. I had some pet insurance years ago that I had to drop. I had it on all 5 of my dogs, but every year they were raising the rate so much that I couldn't afford it anymore. But there's some things, I think the competition is a lot higher out there with the pet insurance. There's a lot more people offering it. So I think that things are getting more competitive. It's getting more competitive. One I'll mention right off the top of my head is called Bivvy, Bivvy. And my understanding is just a set $11 a month, and they pay half. And I tell you, when you're getting into, you know, emergency type things, surgeries, half is a lot of money. So I'm just telling you from experience, especially my experience in the last couple of years with vet bills. So yeah, it's just a straight up $11 a month. Another one that my coworker just got her puppy on is called Lemonade, and I'll put this I'll put this in the last email that I sent to you guys too. It's called Lemonade. The one thing about them, though, I don't know what the cutoff is, but I think at some point they stop covering you when the dog gets way up into the seniors. But I don't know the cutoff. I meant to ask my coworker about that, but I forgot. But she's already had an amazing experience with them, and they immediately reimbursed her, because that's how the pet insurance works. You pay for it and they reimburse. And she was reimbursed within a day of her costs. So she's had already, I can vouch that she's had a very good experience on Lemonade. So anyway, I recommend you look into it. I know right now it seems a little, I don't know, less important because they're young, and, you know, knock on wood, there's a lot less things are going to be happening. But if you can find a reasonable one that you can afford, I do recommend it, because every time you take them to the vet and then they get diagnosed with something, then boom, that's now a pre-existing condition. So then you're screwed, pardon my French. Then that will no longer be insured by any pet insurance. So that's the thing. So the more you start racking up those pre-existing conditions, the less help you're going to get down the line from an insurance company. Okay. What I was thinking, just to get started here, is I'd like to just do a tiny bit of review. I just wanted to do a little review on stay. Oh, actually, before I move forward, oh, someone just had a question. Let me just check that real quick. Oh, nice to know. Pets best. Okay, Stephanie was just mentioning that I love to write on the tails of someone's research. I do that a lot with my brother. He's very thorough with his research on things. Stephanie says that she's done a lot of research, and they have settled on pets best. So I'm actually going to write that down for my own
And I'll just
knowledge.
add, I chose to settle on them for two reasons. One, they were one of the more competitive ones price-wise, but
Okay.
they were the ones that are the most explicit about how much the rates go up as your dog ages.
Okay. Nice.
Everybody else was really fuzzy, and there are all these variables and all these things depend, and they're just very clear. Like at this age, it goes up this much percent, and that was
Good to know. So when do they start raising it? At what age? Do you remember? Vaguely. No pressure. I just
you're 4 or 5. Yeah, the first 3 years, I'm
Okay.
sure, are at the same rate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. Thank you so much for that. Let's see, start rates. Just wanted to make a quick note. Okay, great. So pets best. Yeah, I don't know anything about them, but I haven't really looked into insurance since, my dogs have all pre-existing conditions. So anyway, me and Stephanie were talking earlier. She was saying that Pharaoh is doing well with the formal leave it practice, the training, but he's still grabbing. Oh, got another comment here. Okay. Oh, embraced. Okay, good to know. How are you guys using that embrace now, Jesse?
We haven't signed up for it
Oh.
yet, but our dog before Gloria had diabetes, and so we heavily used it.
Yeah.
And we had a good experience with them.
Oh, good. I'm really glad to hear that.
Yeah, the older they get, the more expensive it gets, but like for us, it was worth it because we had it already when she was diagnosed.
See, that's the key right there. Yeah. Okay, good to know. I'll write that one down too. Embrace. Okay, excellent. So yeah, we were talking about how Pharaoh is grabbing things, and sometimes it's a little harder to get him to leave the things. So once they have possession of the things, what we can do is we can work on teaching drop it. And then it's actually super simple. All you have to do is first just take, a super smelly treat and put right under their nose. And most likely they're going to drop the thing and eat the treat. And so you do that a few times when you're successfully getting them to drop it. And then after that, then just say drop it, then put the treat under the nose, and then the thing drops. So, and then continue to say drop it every time you stick it under their nose. And eventually, hopefully, you'll be able to say drop it, and they're going to drop it because they're going to expect to get a treat or a trade. So I'm going to put that in your homework. So yeah, it's pretty simple. it's kind of hard to demo because no one's got anything right now in their mouth. So I'll put a note in the last email that I sent to you guys with some just a little bit of homework that you can reference. But yeah, it's a pretty good one. Okay.
Ow. Ow.
I think we got a little mouthing action going on there. So I thought what we do is just really quickly, just go over stay, recall, leave it, and then the adding verbal to the sit down stand, see where you're at with that. We won't take too much time on this because I wanted to do a little bit of work on no jumping. Similar, basically the same thing that I had sent you, Jesse, the same method. And then I was going to quickly show a video on leash walking and then see if we could do a little bit of practice on that. So I think I'd like to start with stay. And I'd like for you guys to put your dogs in a stay. And I'd like you to make your criteria easy enough that you can get 5 in a row. Because remember what I was telling you, that 5 out of 5 means you can actually move on and make it harder. If you're only getting 3 or 4 out of 5, then you need to stay where you're at. And then 1 or 2, it's too hard. So in this scenario right now that we're in, you can test your puppy to see, what you think they might be able to do, but just test them once. And then I'd like for you to put them in, you can either do duration or you can do a few steps back, but I'd like for you to choose the difficulty, choose the criteria that you think that you can get 5 out of 5. Try anyway, no pressure, but see if you can make it easy enough that you can get 5 out of 5. And it's your choice. You can do, stand right in front of your puppy and do 5 seconds of duration, or you can try to take 5 paces back and then bungee back to your dog. So I'll give you guys a minute to get going, and then I'll just do quick little troubleshooting around. Let's see. Chris, do you think you're ready to give it a go?
Yeah, I think so.
What's your criteria going to be?
So I think I'm gonna take probably like 8 or 9 steps away.
Okay.
Like that.
Okay.
She's been doing pretty well at this one.
Okay,
we make her do
perfect.
it for food in the morning, so she's been, patient with this. Hey, sit.
I actually can't see you guys, unfortunately. There we go. That looks great. Let's see if you can do 5 in a row. So we got 5. Let's try for 4 more. Great. That's looking really good. Yeah, I like it. You toss a treat. So that way Ollie knows that the stay is over, and now we're going to start over. Looks like it went under the door, and that's like not going to work for him. That's great. I love your slide into home there. That's great. That's looking good. Go ahead and see if you can get 2 more, and I'm going to move on with these other guys. But good job there. I'm impressed. Let's see, Jesse, you want to give it a go?
Stay.
So yeah, and what's your criteria going to be here? How much are you going to ask for Gloria?
Like 3 or 4 steps.
Okay, sounds good. Let's see if we can work towards the goal of getting 5 in a row there. And I'll just watch you for the first couple.
Gloria, sit. Sit. Wait. Yes, good girl.
Fantastic. That looked great.
Oh,
Have a seat.
okay.
Wait.
Yeah, that was nice. Come here.
Yes, good girl.
That looks good. Good job, you guys. All right, why don't you see if you can get 3 more, and I'm going to move on, see how, is Atticus who's going to do this one with Pharaoh?
Yep, Atticus is gonna do it.
Oh, there you are. Hey, Atticus, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Okay.
So what's your criteria going to be?
I was just gonna take a couple steps back.
Sounds good. So we're going to aim for 5 in a row, and I'll watch it for the first couple.
Down. Sit.
Okay.
Stand. Good girl.
Oh, no. Okay.
That's really good.
Whoops.
Yes.
Whoops. Got a little lost
You gotta
here.
come back here, Atticus. Coming back.
Stand. Good girl.
Stay.
Whoops. Maybe a little, maybe make it simpler.
Yeah. Stay.
Nice. So you're just going for a little duration.
Sit.
Stay.
Stay.
Nice. I like how you really you dialed it back to make Pharaoh successful. And that's really the key.
No.
Good girl. Okay.
So are you using a clicker? I can't talk today.
No,
Oh, I thought I heard a clicker. That's funny.
I think that was somebody else. We just say yes.
Oh, okay. I'm like, sometimes the noises get like confusing. I'm like, I was hearing a clicker and it was looking like he was clicking in totally the wrong place. So I'm glad I cleared that up. I'm like, what? Like,
All right, that was my bad.
oh no, you can continue to do that. I encourage that. No, that's not your bad. It just sometimes I have to get myself clear on what's happening. So Atticus, would you mind doing one more now that I know that you're doing a marker word and I'll disregard the clicker that I'm hearing. I just want to watch your mechanics one more time. So now that I won't be confused.
Go. Sit. Stay. Yes.
Okay, perfect. That looks great. Way better now. Okay. Okay, great. Okay, that's looking good. So now we're going to do a little recall practice, and I'm going to have you guys say your dog's name. When they turn towards you, I want you to add your cue and be exciting. And when they come to you, I just want you to reach out and grab their collar and or their harness and deliver a treat. So we'll get a couple of recalls from everyone. That looked good, Stephanie. Nice. And if they keep staring at you, they won't look away from you so that you can actually call their name to get them to turn towards you. What I do is I toss a treat way out there, and then you can like get them to look away so that you can practice recall. All right, Ignotus, you want to do a little recall with Gloria or Atticus, whichever, or Jesse? So we're just saying their name, waiting for them to turn towards us, and then we're going to call them to us. Oh, we got
Gloria.
a little.
Yes.
Very nice. I like that. Some enthusiasm. Oh no, Chris, no worries. No, I didn't really expect everyone to put their things on mute, but if you do, that's great, but it's never really expected, so no worries at all. That looked fantastic with Gloria. Let's try that one more time. I like how you're reaching out for a harness. Give it another whirl. So maybe you can get her to look away so that someone distract her so someone else can call her. Atticus, why don't you try calling her while she's looking at Ignotus? Or Ignotus, you try calling her again.
Gloria. Gloria. Yes.
She's got some, that's great. She's really paying attention to her name.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good job, you guys. Let's take a look at little Rosie.
Okay, come on, Rosie.
Yeah, perfect. Just toss it off.
Shit.
Oh yeah, yeah. You gotta be fast.
All right.
It's when they're.
Right there. Right here.
She's like. Oh.
Rosie. Yes. Yes.
Looks good. What's your recall cue?
Yes.
Oh
Where-
yes. Okay.
Okay. Go on. Rosie. Yes. Good girl. Good girl.
Nice. Well, are you using a clicker? I forget what everyone's doing. Are you using a marker word or a clicker?
I guess I should switch. I need to switch up the recall word.
So is your marker word yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would come up with another word for recall because that could be kind of muddies the waters a little bit. Like you could say come or here.
Usually, yeah, I guess usually we say come on the recall. So.
Okay. So yeah, we should keep the marker word for actually so you're saying the recall cue and then you're going to use the marker word after she starts coming to. Okay, you got it.
Yeah, I got mixed up there. Yeah, we say come. We say come on the recall and then yes for the marker.
Okay, perfect. Okay, excellent. That's looking good. So I was just going to quickly go over the 5 rules. Did we get some? Did you guys do a recall, Stephanie?
I don't know if we did. I can do it.
I think I saw you were doing some stays. So yeah. Try to get some distraction for Pharaoh so that you can actually, maybe Atticus can distract Pharaoh.
Hey, Phil.
Get the attention off of Stephanie so that then she can call him.
Dad.
Pharaoh, come.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very good. Yeah, that's looking good. Yeah, he's definitely doing well with the recall. Just a quick review on the rules. Never call your dog for something they don't like. You know, for a bath or out of play or out of a really good aromatic bush or something that they've got their nose stuck way down into a plant, you know, in the grass. When they're fully engaged in something. So yeah, don't call them away. Never call them for something they don't like, and they were not going to like it if you call them for a bath. And when they don't like what it is that you're calling them for, you've essentially just punished them. Never call your dog unless you believe they're going to come to you, or at least reasonably believe that they're going to come to you. Try to wait for an opportunity to call them so that you'll know you'll be successful, because we want to practice success. If you screw up number 2, go get your pup. Don't just go and actually get them to save the recall. Number 4, don't repeat the cue. Oh, you know, once is enough. After that, you should make prompting noises or clicks or whistles, but don't repeat the cue. And number 5 is just make sure when you do recall that you give them your highest value treats that you have. That should be the bomb when you do the recall. Really quickly, just wanted to go over the next steps of leave it. So there was the closed hand and then with an open hand, and then we're lowering it to the floor with the treat in our hand. And then we're laying the food on the floor by itself. And then I want you to start dropping the food close to the floor and slowly but surely getting higher up. So you're getting more animation out of the food. And then start working on tossing the treat. Excuse me. I'm not sure where all of you guys are on that. If you never leave it perfect, try to get it as best as you can, because if you're out in the world and you say leave it and maybe you don't have a perfect leave it, but you have a kind of good leave it, you might be able to buy some time with that leave it in order to get that thing off the sidewalk before your dog actually, if you can get a good pause there, that might be just enough to allow you to get something off the ground that could potentially harm your dog. So I'm going to move on, and sit downs and stands. And you guys have all added the verbal. I'm sure you're still probably at different points with that. I just thought I'd do a quick round robin, and having you guys do the verbal, pause, give them a chance to do it, and then go ahead and give them that hand signal if they don't do it. And remember in your homework, say it, show it, mark it, pay it. So if you say it and they don't do it, then go ahead and show it to them with your hand signal. So Chris, do you want to give it a whirl? So no worries if they still don't know the verbal. That's not the important part. What's the important part here is that you know what to do if they don't respond to the verbal.
Yeah. Ollie, come here.
Can you take the camera down just a little bit?
Oh my gosh, I keep doing that.
That's okay.
Okay, come here. Sit.
Lovely. And why don't you try it with the down, and that way, if he doesn't know the down, we can have you go through the other sequence.
Yeah.
So just maybe toss a treat away.
Okay. Sit. Down.
And go ahead and help him out with that hand signal.
Hey, sit.
You got it.
Oh, sit.
That's no worries.
Down.
He's going to do it. I could tell he was just almost there. So that was great. So yeah, just say it and then show it, mark it, pay it. Looking good. How about Rosie? So we're just adding that verbal. We're pausing to give her a chance to do it on the verbal. But if she doesn't, we're going to go ahead and help her out with the hand signal. And if you need, put that food back in your hand if you're having some issues with. Oh, so that was excellent. Try it down.
Rosie, down. Good girl.
That's great. That's great. I'm noticing that part of her down is you leaning down too. And that's fine. That's, I talked about how dogs start incorporating all the details, and that's part of her down, I think. So you might want to start working on maybe moving your body a little less down and slowly make it so that eventually you'll be able to stand up and do that. It's funny how we find ourselves doing things to like help facilitate our dogs. And that's actually great because we want to help them. But then eventually we start to fade those, we call them prompts. We'll start fading it. So you'll just maybe go a little less down when you give her that signal. But anyway, that looked great, Pete. Okay, let's see what with Gloria, we're just giving the verbal and then giving her a chance to do it. And then if she doesn't, then we're going to go ahead and add that hand signal.
Notice. Gloria, sit.
Okay, she's got pretty solid there. Maybe in another environment, you guys, just so you know, it might. Oh, that's great. Perfect timing there, Jesse. Just gave that little pause, gave her a chance. I might, after you've practiced this and, more and more repetitions of doing what you just did, you said the verbal, you paused, then you gave her the hand signal. I'd start pausing a little longer to give her a chance to see if she's starting to make that connection. And then, if she's not fine, then just go ahead and give her the hand signal. But that was perfect right now. I don't think she was going to go down on her own. So, but the more you pair those together, she's going to start getting ready to do that on just the verbal. And so kind of experiment with just making the gap a little longer after you say the down. And then if she's not doing it, go ahead and give her the hand signal. This is looking really good. Okay, Atticus, you're up with Pharaoh. So we're just adding the verbal and the, hey, Greg. Sorry, I just thought you were Atticus.
You're already sitting. What am I supposed to do?
Greg is on the seat.
Down. Oh boy.
Then go ahead and help Pharaoh out with that signal.
Down.
And if that's the case, Greg, then what I would do next is put the food in your hand and just go back to a lure.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of the sequence. Yeah. So we'll just, whatever we have to do to eventually get the down, we start with the verbal. If that's not quite there, no biggie, we give the hand signal. And if that's not quite there on its own, go ahead and put the lure back in your hand and go ahead and do that. So if you continue those three things
Down.
in that sequence,
Yes.
yeah. Try to remember though, when you say the verbal, to pause. And again, the reason for that is they tend to block out when you do it at the same time. And it just makes it harder for them to make that association. If you just give them that little pause, they're going to be more likely to start making the verbal association with the hand signal or the lure, whichever you're using. So yeah, they can still probably eventually make that association, but it takes a lot longer, and some dogs might not.
Yes.
So, so yeah, that like great. You just all you just needed to do is put that food back in your hand, and so go ahead and when you're working on sits and downs, I'd say that at this point I'd say the verbal, pause a beat or two, try the hand signal. That's not working, then go ahead and put the food in your hand. And it's going to depend on where you are and what distractions are happening as to what Pharaoh is or isn't going to do and at what point. I know he was further, I've seen him further along with that hand signal. So this is just here and now. But we have to remember we have to work with the dog in front of us in this moment, in this time, in this setting. So maybe they were doing it on the hand signal 15 minutes ago in another room in the house, but right at this moment, Pharaoh needed the lure. And so we're going to go ahead and give Pharaoh the lure because we gotta make it so that we're creating scenarios to make them successful. Otherwise, you don't really, it's really hard to progress.
Right.
Almost impossible to progress if you're continuing to practice failure. Okay, that's looking good. So we're going to move on. I am going to share the screen now. We're just going to watch a Kiko Pup video, actually. Let me turn my heater on. I'm getting a little chilly. So yeah, we're gonna, so you guys just relax. You can give your dogs a chew or something to entertain them. I'm gonna share the screen and we're gonna watch, like I said, a Kiko Pup video. And also it's kind of a good introduction to her for continuing education. And she's gonna really break down some formal loose leash walking. Now, so far what we've done is we've been doing a marking in the reward zone, basically marking for proximity. And she's going to take it a little bit further. When we're really setting out to work in a more formal way on leash walking skills, where basically we're teaching our dogs not to pull us, it actually takes a pretty solid commitment. So the problem is if you let your dog pull sometimes and then other times let them know that you don't, you're training them not to pull, you have to remember for the dog, it's all the same. So you really have to be consistent. So once you start working on not pulling and all the other elements of leash walking skills, you really kind of have to say to yourself, okay, when I go out to walk my dog, I'm going to always be concentrating on that. Meaning, in other words, you go outside and you go, oh, I'm going to do 10 minutes of training. You come back in and now it's like, oh, we're going to the beach. We go out the front door and your dog is pulling you to the car. Like I said, it's all the same to the dog. So you're letting them do it in one scenario, but you're working on it in another scenario. They don't understand training. They just are living their lives doing what they do. So my suggestion is, if you're not quite ready to bite off full on formal loose leash walking, I would suggest that you continue to do the one exercise, marking and rewarding the reward zone. Continue to when you're outside walking your dog, mark and reward when they're in like a bubble, a space that you like. Reward that. Mark and reward when your dog is giving you attention. So all that stuff is still going to be working towards a loose leash, but it won't necessarily stop your dog from pulling. But all those things, all those elements, those two elements of paying attention and staying close to you are going to make your job a lot easier when you do set out to really bite off full on work on loose leash walking. And when I say full on work, it means committing to a few weeks of work where every time you go out for a walk, you are actually working on it. But in the meantime, if you don't feel like biting that off right now, no worries. Just make sure you're marking and rewarding for attention when you're out and about, and making sure you're marking and rewarding when your dog is staying in your chosen area. But what the video I'm about to show you, though, is actually going to be a bit more the full-on deal of working on loose leash walking. It's actually kind of hard to say. So I'm going to share the screen, show this video. It'll take me a minute. I haven't done this in a while. Where is it? I know it's up there somewhere. Hold on. There it is. See it? Spotted it. There it is. Okay, here we go. It's only about 3 some odd minutes.
No pulling on leash. Here you can see I am walking down the street with my 2 dogs, and both of the leashes are slack. There is no tension in the leash, and both dogs are calm and relaxed and doing what they like to do. Look around and sniff. When you follow a dog on a tight leash, you are actually training the dog to pull. This is because they are getting a big reward for tugging you along behind. They get to move forwards. Not only is pulling uncomfortable for the owner, but is uncomfortable for the dog as well. A dog that pulls on leash is more likely to become over-aroused on walks because of the tension on their neck or chest, causing them to bark and lunge at other dogs and people. By walking on a loose leash, a dog learns to control their impulses and behave in a relaxed and calm manner. This is Max, a Chihuahua. He's giving a demo on what pulling on leash looks like. He's not looking back once and pulling ahead, getting to where he wants to go without a care in the world what I'm doing behind him. I mean nothing to him.
This is a great summary.
Here's one game you can play. Drop a treat and walk ahead. As the dog catches up, click them before they get to you and reinforce them in the position you'd like them to be. So drop the treat at the back of your heel or feed them back behind your leg. What to do if the dog pulls. If the dog pulls ahead and the leash becomes tense, simply stop, encourage the dog back by patting your leg or making a kissy noise, take a couple steps back, and when they're in a nice loose leash, continue walking forwards. If the leash becomes tense again, just simply continue doing the backing up.
Well, and another thing that we recommend, and I'll put this in the notes, is another thing, when they're pulling, we call it red light, green light. So they're pulling, we stop, we wait our dogs out until either A, they turn it back to look at us, or they give any slack in the leash. And once they do either of those 2 things, then we start moving again. And they're getting rewarded for doing putting slack or giving you attention. The reward is they get to keep going forward. Either way will work, what she just recommended, or what we call red light, green light.
Another technique is, as the leash becomes tense, you simply turn around and go the other way. Don't forget to click your dog when you see them walking perfectly. Also, practice stopping and clicking them for staying with you. If they rush ahead, no click. Here's a training tip. Practice indoors first, where there's no distraction. You want to build a strong foundation on the behavior of being next to you is the best place to be. If you do your homework and practice in your yard and in your house first before you hit the street, your dog will be more likely to be attentive to you. Another technique is don't go for the walk that you usually do, where your dog habitually pulls. Instead, practice walking back and forth in front of your house. Not only do you become very unpredictable in the direction that you're going, which can make your dog much more attentive, but your dog no longer knows which way is forwards. Therefore, they're less likely to want to pull ahead. The great thing about this technique is you're not forcing your dogs to stay with you. You're building being next to you as a wonderful place to be, so that even when you drop the leash, your dogs want to stay with you and in those positions that you've reinforced them for staying.
Okay, let me stop the share. Oh, whoops. Hang on a minute. Sorry about that. I got to go back to there. Now I got to find you guys again. There you are. So yeah, that pretty much sums it up. Let me turn my heater off. Hang on. So again, the whole thing is committing to not allowing our dogs to pull us anywhere, because it's self-reinforcing, because when they pull, they get to go where they want. So it's up to you guys when you want to really put that commitment in. But in the meantime, there's plenty of work that you can be doing working towards that. So let's see, I'm trying to get rid of this. Back to full screen. Okay, so I'm going to send that video with you guys. Also a note on how to best hold your I think guys are all doing marker words, so it might not be an issue. I always forget, but how to hold your leash and your treats. 1 second. Treat. Okay. So yeah, so that'll be up to you guys when you really want to bite that off. But in the meantime, there's lots of work that you've been doing on prep work to get you ready for that and to help facilitate the eventual ability to walk on a loose leash. I once had a dog that I tried to, this was years ago before I knew anything about training, and I tried to teach him. He was, oh my gosh, he was crazy. He was the hardest puller I've ever had in my life. He's a 2-year-old dog I adopted. And all I did was red light, green light, meaning he would pull, I would stop. Actually, at that time, the little bit of knowledge I had was he would pull, I would turn around, I would go the other direction. He would pull, I'd turn around and go the other direction. We looked like lunatics in the neighborhood for months on end. But what I failed to do, the poor dog, I kick myself and my heart breaks when I think about his frustration and mine. It took us a year. And sometimes I still don't know if it was because of what I did or he actually just calmed down. What I was doing was only punishing the behavior I didn't want. The bigger piece of the puzzle is to reward the behavior that you do want. That is the most important thing. And I left out the biggest part of it. So you live and you learn. Okay, so I will be sending you guys that video. I was gonna do a little bit on pulling. I'm sorry. Where did it go? On jumping. I'll just talk about this very briefly. So when you're working on jumping, how many, Jesse, you had said that Gloria was doing some jumping. How about Pharaoh? How's that working out?
How's what?
Is he doing what you, let me explain that better. Like when he greets you or greets other people, does he jump up a lot?
Not so much.
no.
Okay, that's
Never
good.
jumps on us. Today he jumped on Henry. I mean, it's rare, but
It's not too bad of a problem. Okay,
No,
good.
yeah.
Okay, how about with Rosie, Pete?
Yeah, Rosie tends to jump up. She's getting better with us.
She'll jump on guests.
But when she meets new people, yeah.
New people, it's a given that she's gonna leap up, and once it kind of gets past that first.
Sure, it's the first parts. How about Ollie?
It goes back and forth. Sometimes she's
Yeah.
crazy and jumping like from the beginning and then for like minutes after, and sometimes she's really
She
great
settles
and
in.
flop herself down.
Yeah.
No,
Well, I'm gonna just touch on this a little bit, and then I sent this to Jesse. I'm gonna send a video for you guys to reference on that issue, and but just more of just talk a little bit about sort of the concept of how that we work on stopping our dogs from jumping is essentially what we're trying to do is set up scenarios so that we can reward an alternate behavior. So a really good way to practice this in your homes is, and this will be in the video I'll send, is let's see, I'll do it with little Abigail here. She was actually a really bad jumper, and it's been getting better because I have been really concentrating on treating her on the floor. And sometimes with little dogs, that can sort of become a habit of theirs only because they're always reaching up to get the treat. And then inadvertently, you just realize I've trained my dog to always jump. And so it makes her more apt to jump on me. It makes her more apt to jump on people. But just the little change of me making sure when she's moving towards me that I immediately put the treat down on the floor so that she goes down to get the treat instead of jumping up for it, and has made a massive difference. So what it's creating a scenario so that you can reward the alternative behavior. And for me and for a lot of trainers, I know the alternative behavior for us that we want is just 4 on the floor. You're certainly welcome to train your dog to sit for greetings. But the one thing I wanted to interject in that is that a lot of dogs aren't comfortable with having maybe every part of their body touched, or maybe they want to offer their, this way to be petted. They want to be able to move around to feel comfortable when they're greeting. When you're getting a dog in a sit, you're really forcing them to just be, okay, here I am. I'm not able to move and do my thing and be comfortable in my greeting. So for me, I just recommend that if they keep 4 on the floor, I mean, that's really what you want, right? You just don't want them jumping up. So what we're going to reward for, I recommend, is just 4 on the floor. So we want to get to the dog before that they jump up. And so basically a little exercise that you can do. What is that? Oh, I thought my alarm was going off. An exercise you can do is to be moving away from your puppy. When your puppy starts to come towards you and get excited and it starts moving towards, you'll actually want to reward the dog on the floor before they get close enough and get too excited to actually jump up. So you're actually just getting ahead of the game. And yeah, so I'm just going to be moving away from her. And I'm just treating her before she gets close to me to jump up. And after a while, as you're practicing and your dog's getting more and more consistent with not jumping up as he's moving, as he's moving toward you, and you can see that he's keeping 4 on the floor, you can start letting your puppy start to approach you closer and then getting that treat down there. And the more solid you're getting with your dog coming up to you and not jumping, and you're getting that treat in there in time to catch that 4 on the floor, then you can start doing some, jumping around, things that might induce a jump. But again, you want to deliver that treat to the floor before your dog has a chance to jump. It's pretty straightforward concept, but sometimes it's just hard to keep it in your head that there's going to be a lot less. So if they do end up jumping up on you, I just want you to turn away from them and ignore it. Give them no reward whatsoever. But we don't want that. We'd like to actually not have scenarios where they're jumping up on us. Sure, there's going to be those times and it's going to happen. But if we play our cards right and just set it up so that we can reward the not jumping before we're having to punish the jumping. I don't know if that all makes sense. I kind of ran through that pretty quickly, but I'm going to send out a video by the same woman, and I'll have a step-by-step also to help you navigate through that. But hopefully that'll help you out a little bit. And let's see, I wanted to talk about a couple more, just maybe one more thing. No, you guys are kind of like to go to the dog parks, but just be careful that you pick a good one. Lots of people don't pay attention and they let their dogs do whatever. And just remember the dogs are not screened. And if you see some trouble start to happen, just get out, don't hang around. Pay attention, make sure your dog is not being bullied, and also just make sure your dog is not bullying. Yeah, people a lot of times check out on their phones, or they're just like having social hour, which, I understand that, but unfortunately, a lot of times that means that dogs are just running rampant and not being overseen at all. And things can be going on and no one is paying attention to it. And dogs can get traumatized. So just make sure that you're sure about the dog parks that you go to. I know I live near one called at Normandale that is really crazy, and I've heard a lot of fights break out at that park. But they do at least have a small dog area, which that makes me happy. I think that's about it. Oh, one more thing. I did just want to recommend that you guys, I don't know if you have ID tags for your dogs. I always just like to encourage you to get ID tags. Microchips are fantastic, but the problem is they have to be taken somewhere to be scanned. And that makes people a lot less likely to intervene if your dog was to get out and be in danger. It's going to make someone a lot less likely to take the time to help because they know it means taking them in a car ride to somewhere to get it scanned. And occasionally microchips do fail. So I always recommend having ID tags on your dog so that someone can immediately jump in and help your dog before they might actually get into danger, like get into traffic or, God forbid, something worse, or actually that's pretty bad. So yeah, but other than that, I've really enjoyed having you guys. Make training fun. If it's not fun, then abort. It's got to be fun for you. It's got to be fun for your dogs. It's one of the ways that we can really build that bond with our dogs. So go forth and train. And I really enjoyed having all of you. And I'll be sending out those certificates within the week with just a little bit more homework for you guys to work on as you go along. So
thanks for all your help.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
It's been great.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. You guys have been a great class. I'm kind of sad to see it end. All right, take care.
Bye.
Thank you, Tammy.
Yeah, good meeting all of
everybody.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.